So why do we teach in the field? We do it for a bunch of reasons. We do it because the subject we're trying to teach, whether that's plants, birds, stream ecology, what have you, is illuminated more clearly when we're out immersed in the actual phenomena of nature. We do it because time and time again we see emotional transformation and deepenings in our students and in our groups of people learning how to collaborate and work together. And we do it, quite frankly, because it's a whole lot of fun.
One of the reasons that field science persists is because the dedication and passion of individuals. Well, I do it because it's the most important thing for our students. It's the most important thing for faculty members to be able to be out there and share what they love.
I feel like I'm the most alive when I'm out in the field, when I'm slowing down and paying attention to the world and focused on something and learning and feeling like I'm discovering things, at least things that are new to me every day. And that, to me, just drives so many other things. You know, you fall in love with it, and then you want to learn more, and then I think you want to share it.
I find that it's a very natural way to interact with students.
Being able to put the students in a sensory environment and to see how that impacts their learning.
Every individual in the field is going to see something that others of us have never seen. And there is no lesson plan that I can prepare for a field trip that will tell me exactly what we're going to encounter and what those organisms that we encounter are going to be doing. I learned early on from one of my mentors that what you see is conditioned very much by what your mind is expecting to see and what your mind is prepared to see. And so that's where the role of the teacher comes in, to sort of populate the world of possibilities for the young naturalist.
There's really no substitute from learning directly from the real phenomena of the world that surround us, that we cannot ignore when we go into the field. And the field might be this ponderosa pine forest we're sitting in right here with the wind blowing through the needles, or it may be a wilderness mountain range in Alaska, or it may be a city neighborhood in downtown Seattle or somewhere else. But in all cases, the real phenomena of the world confront us, and we engage with them in a deeper and much more real way than we ever can if we stay cloistered in classrooms and behind reading-only books and models and PowerPoint slides, all of which have their place, but none of which can reveal the world in the way that this real world can.
For the students, these are often the moments of their life when they suddenly understand this is how nature works, this is how things get put together. I'm not just watching on the TV, I'm actually seeing it, with my own eyes.
I often have students in the class, usually at least 2 or 3 every semester, that have literally never walked on dirt. Exposing those students for the first time has been rewarding and challenging at the same time, and just to sort of, calming the fears of those that have never slept in a tent, never slept outside. But to see them come around at the end of the semester and, you get your evaluations back and it says, this is the most important class to me that I've ever had because it opened my eyes to things that, I didn't even know these things were outside.
I'm thinking about the students that I teach who are largely very good natural historians, and they're really good scientists. They might come to the field knowing all the scientific names and knowing biogeochemistry, and they come with this sense that, well, we already know how the living world works, and then they'll see behavior of something as simple as insect behavior, and they'll ask, well, what's going on here? And the answer is, we don't know. And then the answer down the trail a little bit longer is, why does this plant smell like that? And our answer is, we don't know. And so it takes students who have been taught science as if science is a set of answers, and turn science into this endless list of questions.
Chance for the participant to put the content knowledge, the stuff of facts, and the concepts, the stuff of theory, and the skill sets, the counting, the measuring, all of those things into context. So instead of seeing a rocky intertidal that's just replete with all kinds of organisms, they suddenly see the layers and understand what made them. And all of the predator-prey theory and keystone predator theory that they learned about in a classroom, on the page, on the PowerPoint, is right there, wet and messy in front of them.
So the story, I guess, that I would share is of a student who was really reluctant to go to primary. Like, I think he was like a biotech major or something, and he really didn't want to go. And I remember at one point, he'd been there for a couple of weeks, asking him, so what's the thing that's most different for you? And, you know, just to explore challenges he was having. Like, well, you probably talk about the black flies or the 10 hours on the trail slogging through a bog. And it was so wonderful. He said, I never knew that the earth was so soft.
There's something powerful about being in a small group, removed from civilization and connected to nature that is hard to describe unless you've been a part of something like that. People learn that they need each other. People learn that they're better than they thought they were. They also learn some things about what's right and wrong, because the effects that their behavior have on other people is much more clear. And so having a real lived experience with a small group in the out of doors for whatever purpose is an essential part of every student's education.
Last field trip we did a year ago in the spring, there was one student in the class who was terrified of birds. And one of the activities we do is have Walt King and his woodpecker crew in us over in Walt demonstrate bird banding and how they mark and handle live birds. And the student was literally standing behind me, between me and the wall of the building we were in. And by the end, she held a bird and let it go. And this was not just, oh, this is something really cool and neat that I've never done before. It really meant confronting some deeply held, and although we might think not well-founded, but deeply held personal fears and challenges.
To me, that's one of the huge sort of mental health benefits of being outdoors, is that pretty soon, you know, there's a ponderosa pine, and here comes a striped racer, and you start paying attention to these other organisms and thinking about their lives. And you know, that pine tree, that ponderosa pine goes through fires and windstorms and lightning storms and seasonal fluctuations and all this stuff, and here it still is. You know, and so I think as you pay more attention and get more involved, especially actively involved by things like taking observations and recording them, assembling those observations of patterns and so forth, I think those kinds of activities take us out of ourselves.
I'm just delighted in watching the kids to see how long it would take them before they started going off trail, because you don't really start getting to know the forest and the birds until you go off trail. And usually it was within a week or 10 days, they're comfortable enough, they're just crashing through the forest. And getting comfortable enough in the forest to go off the trail is a wonderful metaphor for me of what I want to see in my students and what I think field work does for a lot of people.
For me, the biggest value of field studies, it's really the same, I would say, both for me personally and for my students, and that is by studying the more than just human world, going out and studying organisms in their environment, it really expands one's view of their place in the world. In fact, it actually expands my view of where I live, who my neighbors are, who I am as a neighbor. Almost all of us, if not all of us, really share the same kind of emotional grounding of what the value is. Almost no one has said, look, the only importance to this is the extent to which we can apply the data to earning money or curing cancer or getting the next big grant. Almost everybody holds it as something that has emotional importance to them as an individual, and their role as field educators, field biology educators, is to further that belief with the next generation of students.
It's so exciting to feel part of a large resurgence of natural history and of commitment to field studies from experienced and dynamic educators all across the country. And I really have tremendous hope and excitement for this resurgence in field studies